The fate of a former Bitterroot doctor charged with felony crimes is now in the hands of a jury.
Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke in hot water for his travels since taking office.
And they may not be the most popular pet, but one Arley family sure loves their rats.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
The fate of a Florence doctor accused of negligent homicide following the deaths of 2 patients and overprescribing drugs to other patients is now in the hands of a jury.
The defense and the state rested in the trial of former Dr. Chris Christensen. The Ravalli County District Court jury has heard a flood of detailed testimony from both sides over the course of several weeks. Several of the doctor's former patients testified in court, some telling stories of how their lives were turned upside down by his procedures. Prosecuting attorneys accuse Christensen of overprescribing medications and then failing to follow up and ensure the dosages were correct. In closing arguments heard today, defense attorneys claim the state's prosecution is grasping at straws and that Christensen is innocent. The prosecution argues the doctor neglected to adequately care for his patients and failed to learn from his mistakes.
It's a story of a prosecution gone badly awry that has to turn to smear jobs. It's the story of a good doctor, a good human being who treats thousands of patients, 9 of whom have come under the gun from the state and will come in and say something sort of bad.
You are expected to take care of your patient, and the way you take care of your patient is not by handing them opioids the first time and saying, there, I treated you. You take care of your patient by figuring out what is wrong. He was put on notice. If you do this, people die. He did nothing to change. He did it again. People die.
Christensen already lost his license to practice medicine in Montana. As we mentioned, the jury got the case late today. When we get a verdict, we will get it to you as soon as we can. Turning now to weather, some active conditions out there with the new winter weather advisory about to take effect. Here's Erin Yost now with the latest on that. Erin.
Yeah, we've got just under an hour before all of those advisories begin in western Montana. They include all of west central Montana and then up along Glacier National Park in the West Glacier region. This was Hamilton earlier today. First Security Bank ICAM. We've seen some gray skies. We've seen a few peaks of sunshine as well, but for the most part today an active day, especially earlier when we saw a cold front move through. Now that's the key word, cold front. We're on the back side of it now. So now when we start to see that directional pattern change, we're going to see northwesterly flow develop, ushering in some more moisture with colder air in place. We will start to talk snow showers. So here's a look at where those winter weather advisories have been issued into much of the day tomorrow. Got more details in your full forecast ahead.
In other news tonight, the Office of the Inspector General says Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke hasn't filed the proper paperwork to document his airplane travel since he was appointed. The investigation was launched in October after critics questioned Zinke's use of charter flights. In the new memo released today, Deputy Inspector General Mary Kendall says the documentation of Zinke's trips are deficient and without proper management oversight and accountability. Kendall says investigators haven't been able to determine the full extent to which Zinke's wife Lolita traveled with her husband. In September, there were reports Zinke combined political and personal stops on some trips. One flight from Las Vegas to Kalispell was in a plane owned by a Wyoming-based gas and oil development firm, costing taxpayers over $12,000. Zinke said he needed the direct connection to make a speaking engagement to the Western Governors Conference in Whitefish, and calling the concerns a little BS. The Inspector General is asking for all that paperwork to be produced by December 1st.
Crews are working to clean up a leak at the Keystone Pipeline that spilled at least 210,000 gallons of oil in South Dakota today. The leak was located in an agricultural area in Marshall County. There have been no reports of the oil getting into the waterways or water systems so far. Brian Walsh with the Department of Environmental and Natural Resources Committee say they were alerted to the leak around 10:30 in the morning by TransCanada. TransCanada said in its statement that it expects the pipeline to remain shut down as the company responds to the leak. It did not offer a time estimate. The spill comes on the eve of a crucial decision by the Public Service Commission in Nebraska over whether to grant a permit for a new long-delayed sister pipeline called the Keystone XL. That has been a controversial idea for years. Both are owned by Calgary-based TransCanada.
He's worked for a company with a slogan for bringing good things to life. Now General Electric executive Seth Bodnar will be aiming to bring good things to the University of Montana and new life to the school's stagnant enrollment. Already nominated to the post a few weeks ago, this afternoon the Montana Board of Regents approved the contract for Bodnar, which sets him in place to take over UM in January. He'll be paid just under $314,000 a year plus benefits. Bodnar, who taught at West Point and had a long Army career as a Green Beret, promised to fight for public higher education, saying it's a privilege to be on the UM team. A Rhodes Scholar, Bodnar wasn't a traditional candidate for the president's job because he doesn't have the academic management experience, but the selection committee believes his business background could be a big asset as the university works to adjust programs and spending while growing enrollment. The Lake County Courthouse and Jail will undergo a check to make sure facilities are up to date and, most of all, secure. On November 29th and 30th, the National Institute of Corrections will be in Polson to conduct the assessment for the aging jail. That work will include interviews and a physical inspection, along with reviewing policies and procedures. Last spring, you'll remember Sheriff Don Bell requested the study, which will be done free of charge. When it's finished, the team will present their findings with local officials and the public during a town hall meeting. That'll be on December 1st.
Montana lawmakers worked until early this morning to wrap up that two-day special session that put together a plan to fill the state's budget hole. On Thursday, today, Governor Steve Bullock told reporters that while he didn't like everything in the plan, it did make things a lot better. The two-day special session was called by Bullock. He put together a proposal that included spending cuts, budget transfers, and some temporary tax increases. The Republican majority at the legislature adopted most of Bullock's plan, but put some of their own touches on it too. Among those was a bill encouraging Bullock to extend the contract of that private prison in Shelby. That way they could get $15 million for the budget, maybe even more down the road. Bullock says he's talking with prison owners about that contract, but has not made a final decision yet. The governor says he's glad lawmakers agreed to take some steps to mitigate potential budget cuts and that they backed off earlier suggestions that he should use cuts to balance the entire budget.
At the end of the day, walking out of a three-day legislative session, I think Montanans can have some confidence and assurance that where we ended up for the services that they expect, we're a heck of a lot better than where we walked in on Monday, and immeasurably better than where Republican leadership wanted to be just mere 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Now that session ended at 1 o'clock this morning after 2 days of floor sessions and 1 day of hearings.
If you like the trend to clean food, you'll be excited about one of the new businesses coming to Kalispell. A new set of stores will be coming to the Spring Prairie Complex along Highway 93 South off Reserve. REI, Mod Pizza, and Panera Bread are the headliners and will be joined by T-Mobile and K Jewelers. Panera will be the first location in Montana for that company. Kalispell's chamber president says getting these big-name brands will be a strong reflection of the economy in the Flathead.
It's great to get these national brand names into our market. I mean, I think it shows their confidence in what they're seeing, both with our resident economy and then the amount of tourism economy that we've got.
Those businesses should be open by next Christmas.
One Montana brewery is celebrating the 70th year of skiing on Big Mountain in the best way it knows how.
MTN's Jack Ginsburg explains.
The Great Northern Brewing Company, located in downtown Whitefish, is a popular local hangout, and tonight they re-release their seasonal beer to honor Big Mountain's 70th year of operation.
The beers we brew, we do our very best to tie those into the community, tie them into our geographical region, and the Big Mountain being really one of the foundations of the Whitefish community, it's appropriate we name a beer after that.
The beer honoring the ski hill is called the Big Mountain Tea Pale Ale.
A classic American-style pale ale that's brewed with Earl Grey tea, and that classic bergamot characteristic comes through in the nose, very aromatic, nice beer.
To celebrate the mountain opening soon, the specialty beer was served on tap for $3 a pint, and ski movies were shown on the TVs throughout the night. Duffy says that the people who skied the first runs on Big Mountain on their first opening day 70 years ago still make an impact on the town of Whitefish today.
The culture of people that founded the mountain still to this day really leave a legacy. A lot of family members still live in the community, ski up there, many of them 100 days a year.
In just 3 short weeks, skiers and snowboarders will be heading up to the mountain to catch the 70th consecutive opening day on Big Mountain. Reporting in Whitefish, Jack Ginsburg, MTN News.
Whitefish Mountain Resort will open on December 7th, but they'll have a special ceremony the following weekend to honor the 70th opening day at what used to be called Big Mountain. Coming up, Aaron is back with a look at the winter weather advisory that starts in a few minutes, plus what to expect for the weekend.
And they're not your average pets, but one family has fallen in love with their rats, and you might too. We'll meet the Rat Pack in a few minutes. Stay tuned.